You got your card on my Sharpie? No, you got your Sharpie on my card. Hey gang, Jeff Stone here with day 65 of the year 2016 at magicreviewed.com. Smudged. So this is, I don't think I'm ruining anything by just showing you exactly what you get. You get, I mean, this was in the video. That says 7 of hearts. That says Sharpie. Pen number 2. That says Sharpie, and that says 6 of clubs. That, along with, you know, one of these things, which I don't know how that looks on camera, and a switch, and behold, you now know everything there is to know about how to do that trick. What you're paying for are these pins. Now, many of you, I'm not trying to sell you on the idea or not, but let me just give you a couple points about some advantages of this particular product over other ones. There are plenty of products out there where, let me just grab like a, if I have a normal Sharpie here. Yeah, here we go. Well, it's bronze, but yeah, so let's just go with this one. There are plenty of products out there like this where that right there, ignore the bronze because most of them don't say bronze on them, but right there it says 6 of spades or whatever the revelation card is going to be. And so it's this kind of thing where if you were to hand the pen to somebody and tell them to look at it, they would see Sharpie just, you know, because that's their dogma, you know, that's just what they're used to seeing on there. Their paradigm and whatnot. But then you tell them to keep looking at it, and eventually they're like, oh yeah, it says 7 of clubs or whatever. That can be very magical. I've got a thing I used to do, I did it when I used to train salespeople, which was I'd hold up a black 10 of hearts. It's you know, it looks like spades, but there's no tail, right? They're black hearts. And I would show the card to everybody, and then I would put it down and say, okay, everybody write down on a piece of paper what card I just held up. You know, 95% of them would write 10 of spades. And then I would say, then I would hold the card up again and say, okay, now look at the card. And I make it clear that I didn't switch the card. Look at it again. And keep looking at it. And you'd start to see people's face go, oh, they'd see it. They would see that, oh, it wasn't a 10 of heart, 10 of spades, it was a black heart. But there'd always, every time, I did this, every group was probably maybe 10, 15 people in each training group, and every time there'd be at least one person who had this experience. They saw it, and then they said, I saw it, it was a spade, and then the tails of the spade fell off, they vanished. There'd always be one person that had that experience, and there'd always be another person who had this experience, where they would say that, where they would look at it and they would keep looking at it and they would keep staring at it and they would get mad and like, what? I kept telling them, look at it closely, look at it again. And they kept going, what? I don't see, what do you want me to see? They just never saw that it was a black heart until I finally pointed it out to them. And usually when that pointed out to them, they have the other experience where the tails vanish. So that can be a very magical thing where you show somebody a pen and it says Sharpie, and then they suddenly realize it doesn't say Sharpie, it says 6 clubs. That can be very magical. By the way, the thing with the 10 of hearts, it was just to teach people about preconceived notions, and you guys all went into it with this preconception that there's no such thing as a black heart on a playing card. And so it's to get them to break down their preconceived notions and to get them to, you know, be a little bit more open-minded. If you're going to be a good salesperson, that's a requirement. Anyway, all that philosophy aside, the difference here with this, and I think a lot of people would feel this is an advantage, because there's none of this, look at it, it's change business, and some people may not like that. So in this particular case, obviously this is awkward here, but this would be, you wouldn't have revealed it like I just did. You'd be here, and as you cover it, you'd do this kind of a thing. And you get this smudgy, magical looking moment where they clearly see it's totally different now. It's smudged, it doesn't look the same, and it says 7 of hearts. So that's the effect and method all rolled into one. Of course, if you want to do that again, go watch the performance on the video. Dave Loosely does it, and they cut the camera away when he made the switch, which I'm okay with that. But when he puts the pen back on the table, you look at it, you'll see it's the other pen. He switched them. So that's basically what's going on. Now, if you are like, well, I don't want to have to carry around these two pens and maybe a third black Sharpie, which it only comes with these two, maybe a third black Sharpie. The reason I wasn't using this a minute ago because it's not a normal Sharpie. It doesn't say Sharpie on it anywhere. Anyway, I don't want to have to carry around 3 Sharpies to do this. Well, that's fine. In my opinion, you don't need to carry around a regular one. There's no need to have it handed out and examined. That would just be weird. You just hand them the pen and say, here, sign your name on here. 99% of the time, they're not going to see it. And even if they do see it, they're not going to stop to read it, so I don't think that's an issue. Secondly, if you don't want to do 2 revelations, just do 1, and you can carry just 1 pen around. And in my opinion, you can replace your regular Sharpie with this one. It's just fine. It's a normal working Sharpie. You hand them the pen like this, tell them to take the cap off and sign their name on a card. They are none the wiser. They give it back to you, and then you can do a magic revelation of their card. Or whatever you're going to do with it. So if you like this effect or the concept or this prop, this is an actual Sharpie that's just been, the text has been changed. If you like any of that and you already carry a Sharpie, this can be instantly added to your repertoire just by replacing what you already carry, so no extra pocket space. If you want to go the extra mile, carry around the second one so you can do 2 revelations, great, or maybe 1 revelation, 1 table, different at a different table. That way, if you got you have the Tommy Wonder bug, where you want every, somebody could follow you around and the trick would look different every time. So anyway, that's it. The pens are great quality. The teaching's fine. There's not a whole lot to learn there, I think I've watched so many videos in the past few days, but I'm pretty sure that Peter Nardi is on the explanations with David Loosely, and they talk about different handlings, but I can't remember that for sure, to be honest. So check the written review on that. Last but not least, there's one issue with the training video that was a problem, and it was a section on how to, once the ink runs out of your Sharpie, how to put a new ink cartridge in there. And he just basically talked through it. He didn't show or teach anything. And I'm like, that's kind of a bit of a bummer, because I've heard people can, that you can take these apart and put new ink cartridges in them, but I've never been able to successfully do it. So I'm probably just not strong enough to pull the thing apart or something. But I imagine somebody who's done it before would have some tips, some real world experience with it, some pointers, so they could explain it to us. And he didn't do that at all. I just said, oh, by the way, you can just pop this off and do this and that, and bam, you got a new Sharpie in there. Okay, that was a little disappointing. Other than that, the only other thing I'd say is the price point's a little high. It's $42. It's not horrible, but that's a little steep for, I don't know how much it costs to modify these pens, but generally just a Sharpie pen is less than $1, and that's retail. So imagine they got a bunch of these at wholesale, and however they modified them, I don't know. I don't know what the custom cost this is, but $42 is a little steep, especially when you see some of the upcoming Alakazam products, where there's a lot more stuff included and the price is a lot lower and you get a lot more training. So total final verdict, 4 stars, stone status of gem. That's it for this one. Subscribe, like, thumbs up, share, and listen to the random iTunes song of the moment, which is, oh yeah, It Takes a Little Rain by the Oak Ridge Boys, or the Oaks, as Blake Shelton calls them. It Takes a Little Rain. Let me write that down. Takes a Little Rain. If you guys are like not country people, or you've never really listened to it, or you're curious what's the big deal about country or something, check out some of the classic stuff. A lot of it comes up on my playlist here. But go get like the Oak Ridge. This is the Definitive Collection is the name of this album. Go get that. That'll give you a good sample of what the old country, not old, but old, like 50s, 60s, no, which I love that stuff too. But this is old, like 80s, late 70s, early 80s. Go check it out. Some really good stuff back in the day. Anywho, that's it for this one, folks. Tune in next time where we check out Marcus Eddy's Reconnect. Until then, folks, thanks for watching. Peace out.